In 5, 4,
3.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome. Week 10, look who's chalking. Week 9, if you didn't have a quarterback and you didn't have a wide receiver, you are out within 20 minutes. And that was the case last week. Gary, what's going on? How you doing? Did you have a slice of Justin Fields? Did you have a slice of those receivers over there in Miami with Will Smith? I know you actually, you poo-pooed on it. I like to say that I think I was a little early to that Justin Fields call. Yeah. Because now everyone's on it, which means I'm off it. I'm like that hot girl. Like, oh no, now that everyone wants me, I'm out of here. And that's how I feel about Fields this week. But did you have a little slice of those must-have players last week?
Yeah, I did. It's funny though. You great call on Fields, excellent, and you've had a couple really good men's warehouses over the last few weeks. But I think your worst call of the season was saying Joe Mixon is bad at football now, right? He's got 57 points. Yeah. So that's who you really needed last week. And I did. I had 30%.
I'm sorry. That's actually what I meant to say he was one of the – I knew it was a couple of must-have players, and I forgot Mixon. Maybe my brain, it actually just blocked that out because of what I said.
Defense mechanism, yeah.
Is it weird for me to stand by that? Because I understand it was this unbelievable spot, but I'm talking about every single week before that. They were saying his efficiency rivals only that of Najee Harris. So if that's the case, and they were just saying like people just don't want to bring it up, but that's been the case all year. All right, if he can do something like that again, okay, but I'm just gonna say that was a massive game, and I would still be hesitant to pay big bucks for him.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get what you're saying with the efficiency there. And it had been really bad. The differences are a couple. That one, the role only continued to be elite. No threat to his role inside the 5. His pass game role, his 3-down role, his leading the league in red zone carries. And then also the ability that Burrow has shown to get him the ball through the air this year has been pretty good. And then, the offense has only been getting better, where the other way around, obviously, Najee Harris is losing work to JAYLEN Moore, and just to use the comparison, and the Steelers are an offense you can't trust. So I think, even if Mixon has lost his step compared to what we saw in his peak years a year or two ago, this is the best role he's ever had in his entire career. And I think people are just waiting on that ceiling game to come around. Obviously 5 touchdowns,
There it was.
we couldn't predict that. But yes, I was actually way over the field on Joe Mixon, and I had a really good build.
Oh.
My problem was I was a little under the field on Justin Fields, and that did you in right there. So
it's funny. We needed half of our brains. You needed half of my on Fields and half of yours, because the one that I was able to cash the most with was my Fields with Mooney, and then double bring back with those 2 receivers, because we mentioned last week. From the guy we didn't want to give credit to, who I still don't remember his name. There's no tricks, no treats over there in Miami. They're getting it to those 2 wide receivers, so you don't have to feel bad doing a double bring back. But with that said, also quick shout out to all the Charlie Bucket type of players out there, because it's brutal for someone like them, because they don't get to say, oh, I got a little piece of this. They just put in their favorite lineups. And for days like that, you're just immediately out of it. You have no chance. And that's the worst. That's very discouraging. I feel like the head honchos at DraftKings don't like to see that, because they know weeks like last week, they're going to shuffle out all the casuals.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully if you're like a 3-max guy, you at least put Mixon in one of your. Mixon was always a good play last week. He was rating as a good play. He had a good projection. He just wasn't coming in as the Eckler, ETN, Stevenson play. He was a tier below that. So hopefully, if you were smart enough, even if you're a 1 to 5 lineup builder, to kind of get away from those 3 main running backs a little bit, Mixon would have been one of the top guys you were going to. But I totally understand what you're saying.
All right. With that said, then let's head to week 10. I mean, man, everyone always says, well, the season's flying by. But when it actually gets to week 10, that's when I say, oh, shit, we're at the double-digit point already. Yeah, so how many buys we got this week?
1 less buy than last week, but we are a 10-game slate again, because there's the Germany game, 9:30 in the morning. So 10 games once again. So it's tied with the smallest slate of the season with last week. So, yeah.
Okay, beautiful. So why don't you, as our previous colleague says, why don't you pull it up? Yes. And we can find a couple things here and there. When I was taking a quick look at it, the first position that I kind of might need some assistance with is quarterback. I was able to find something that I liked in every other area, every other position. I was able to find some things that I was definitely comfortable with. So let's take a look at the quarterback, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so it really is. Now with the Josh Allen injury, especially, it's a pretty interesting week, pretty tough week. I actually would say I would agree with you.
You remember like 2 weeks ago where you were like, oh, well, there's really only Jalen Hurts. He's the only kind of elite one on here. Now all of a sudden there's 17 elite quarterbacks potentially. It's like this got tough in a hurry.
I do think there's enough of a tiebreaker there to go away from Josh Allen now, right? I think if you're a player like me, you don't eliminate him from your pool altogether, but I think he's going to get ruled out. So this conversation is going to probably be moot. But even if he ended up going out there, he's going to be less than 50%, less than 40% with this elbow injury. That's half his points will come from the legs, half his points will come from deep balls. So obviously they are at home. They're getting Minnesota. Minnesota is 7-1. I think they're an overrated 7-1, but they are in every game. Their defense is solid. So it's like just enough to not go there, especially when there's some of these other options on the slate. So as much as I love Josh Allen, I'm probably out this week.
You would imagine two of the guys who had the most hype, two of the guys, one being Tua and the other being Fields, you're going to imagine that both of them are going to get some heavy play from, the zombies out there. They probably will be up there, right?
Yeah, I think I'm a little bit less interested in Tua. I mean, I'm always going to be interested now.
Oh, Gary, I'm way less interested. Yeah. Way less interested. I'm hoping that you say everyone's on him so that I can go back to a different one.
I'm not sure where the Field's at right now. He's coming for us the fifth highest. Right now,
where the Fields is on the two of them.
Yeah, well, the Fields is on the Fields. That's for sure. Fields is coming through at around 20% right now, and I mean it makes sense. They brought him up from 53 to 65, but it's not enough. We now saw that what he could do in his true ceiling games, and he gets a better matchup this week at home, right? I mean, the Lions stayed in that game with the Packers. It ended up being low scoring, but that was all just because Aaron Rodgers, the shell of Aaron Rodgers, threw 3 interceptions in the freaking end zone. The Lions defense still sucks. Let's not get that wrong. I think Fields is, if you're a cash game player, I don't know why you're listening to this, but if you're a cash game player, he's your set it and forget it quarterback. You don't even think about it. He's 6,500 at home in a great matchup. And he is a different player over the last 3 or 4 weeks. There's just no doubt about it. Like, he's still a good play. And I always tell you guys, I don't worry about ownership at quarterback. Like, I think Justin Fields is a great play once again this week. I do.
All right. Name of the show, look who's chalking, and I'm going to pray. You say not to worry about quarterback, but is there any chance that I can get a little bit of a percentage discount because of everyone being up on Fields on Patrick Mahomes?
Nope, he's coming in second. So he's looking at 15-ish plus percent. So it's those two guys.
I was acting like if I asked you nicely, it would actually have a result on what has already happened.
Like, please, Santa, I'm not on the naughty list. I promise. Patrick Mahomes still on the naughty list, coming through with 15% at home against Jacksonville. Having one of his best seasons yards wise. He's like threw the ball 68 times that Sunday night against the Titans. Kadarius Toney's added to this offense. They have all these weapons for him. I think he's enjoying himself this season. 30 points seems like a floor. He's going to be owned. So I think that's the thing. Right. If Josh Allen gets ruled in, I think we're actually projecting him out right now on, we have Case Keenum in there on ETR. So, I think that's a hard, let's try to find some contrarian plays. Tua, I think, is a little contrarian now. He's only come through with 7%.
Wow.
Contrarian. Yeah. Kyler it's too bad of a matchup in going into LA. I'm not going there. I think Daniel Jones is legit though. You can go to Daniel Jones is the perfect pivot from Justin Fields, right? They're coming off a bye. It's at home. He could use his legs in the same way, and he gets almost as good of a matchup against the Texans. We've seen a 30-point game out of him this year. You get the price discount. He's only going to be 6% owned. He definitely makes my player pools.
Quick question. The Gary of 2021, he seemingly every single week took the quarterback that was playing against Patrick Mahomes in a week where they were projected to score a lot of points. Do you have any interest after he looked decent last week in Trevor Lawrence, 5,400?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of that last year was the first half of the season when the Chiefs defense was horrendous. I don't think it's the same deal this year. The Chiefs defense is pretty good, especially over the last 4 or 5 weeks. Going into Arrowhead, he still hasn't shown the ceiling. I'm not going here. I'd rather just play into the Mahomes ownership on the other side.
Okay. And then look, Sometimes there's no rhyme or reason with the sniffs, but if I'm sniffing by the graveyard right now, invented saying, I got a weird feeling Russell Wilson's going to have a decent game. I got a weird feeling after that bye and after that win, he's going to have a decent game. I don't even have a great explanation other than I was born with it, like I was born with the sniff, and I don't have a legitimate reason to say, hey, look at his play. It's trending in the right. The same way that I did with George Kittle. This is a one-off sniff. I won't even take him the following week. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is.
I was born with the sniff. I think that's a pretty good episode title. Oh, jeez. Oh, my goodness. God bless all those hockey degenerates that listen to you every day with your sniffs.
Get this guy off. Get this guy off my screen. I'm already starting to see him say, that's right. Come on, Andy. I'm your QB1. Let's ride.
Broncos country. What a freaking loser. Anyway, theoretically, it's been a good matchup. Tennessee's had, their defense is much better. They have a good front seven. I don't know. Maybe that London game, coming off a bye with the London game, turned things around for Russell Wilson. I don't know. You could talk.
All right. Okay. So what about Cousins?
Cousins.
Is he going to be four? Well, if there's no Allen, then he's not going to be. I saw one. Oh my God. I mean, you got to hate to see this name, but you're talking about Miami. They really are throwing up points. They were throwing up points on the road like it was no problem. Now they're going to be home. I mean, is Brissett going to be forced into a script where he has to keep up?
This wasn't actually.
Oh my God! Look at the top right. Oh my God! 7 touchdowns.
Yeah. But
oh my God!
21 points last week. Like, this wasn't on my radar, but I actually don't hate it. I think it's okay for like a couple lineups. Like, I think. So the Miami's been terrible against the pass all year, right? We just saw Justin Fields. I mean, they've just been terrible against the pass all year. If the weather's nice, I don't know how are you doing? Is this hurricane hitting you at all, by the way, down there?
I got the edge of it.
Yeah,
I caught the edge of
it. So you're staying safe.
Yeah, I'm here with you on. We got internet. It's full speed. Look who's chalking week 10. Means I'm all right.
So, yeah.
I'll be like one of those weathermen, still doing it live and unnecessarily report from the heart of the storm, just to show you what wind looks like.
One of the few things one of the many things our society does that makes no sense. But Brissett, yeah, I think you could. So the reason I like Brissett is because I like a lot of his pass catchers this week. So there you go. Not a terrible call. I think Jared Goff's in play though. So if you want to flip your build, as we like to say at ETR, everyone's 20% of the field's playing Justin Fields. Chicago, yes, Detroit's pass defense is terrible, but let's not forget how bad Chicago's has also been. They don't have their top 2 defenders anymore. They traded them both away. You're getting $1,000 discount on Fields. We've seen him be viable in games like this before. Check out week 4. Yeah, I think
Derek, I used to do this last year. This is gonna be my stay away game. When there's garbage at garbage, you often have the chance to have a true dumpster fire. And I believe in order to get that out of Fields, you need a team to force that out of Fields. You had Miami scoring left and right last week, and that forced Fields to really like, have to match them score for score. And then who was Fields' last 2 opponents? It was Miami and
Dallas.
Dallas, exactly. There you go. Exactly what I'm talking about. 2 teams. Dallas was driving. Dallas had a 3 touchdown lead before you could even blink. And then Miami was scoring every single drive. So the play calling was forcing more aggressive play calls out of the Bears. My worry is that Detroit, we've seen this a couple times this year. They just kind of go flat on offense. And then that actually brings the play calling more conservative. And then you're not getting all these designed runs because they have to score more touchdowns. And then you're just going to get a crusty game. I smell crust in this game.
Cheese double stuffed crust? Like, what kind of crust are we talking about? Like disgusting Pizza Hut, whatever their specials crust.
I'm talking about that Domino's crust when it's not fully cold yet, but it definitely ain't hot. It's right in the middle where you're thinking about
it's been sitting out for like 45 minutes, and it's
it's 45-minute crust in this game. And let's take a look at some of the running backs then, huh?
I just want to say, I want to come in on the record that I disagree with you. I think because the Lions offense has been, for the most part, able to move the ball, I think that game can be fine. But I understand what you're saying. They're two bad teams.
Yeah. Well, you're just looking at, you got rid of Hawkinson and it's not like their offense wasn't playing that great last game at home.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong.
I don't know. I potentially see that. Here, what do you think about, you're a Giants specialist. Is Barkley able to blow? Like, if I saw Derrick Henry there, I'd be like, oh, he's going to do it. Barkley's this weird guy where it's like, oh, bad team, he's going to go. It doesn't really work like that. You have to. The Barkley explosion games are in these random spots, I feel. It's not as cut and dry as, oh, they're playing an awful defense, and now Barkley's going to go off because they're going to feed him the rock 30 times.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like, sometimes he takes like a little reception to the house in a game that,
Yeah.
Well, what the hell is that last week? 20 carries for 53 yards?
Yeah, well, the Giants, they were just completely outcoached, outplayed. This was 2 weeks ago because the Giants are coming off the bye. But yeah, they were completely outcoached and outplayed. And you're right.
Actually, I don't like what I'm seeing on that screen. Yeah.
He's had a floor, right? He's had a floor, but the ceiling has not really been there since that, week. But I guess really since week 1. I mean,
holy crap! Is this the biggest scam fantasy RB1 in terms of monster RB? That I know it's hard for you to say because you're a Giants fan.
No,
I hate to say it. I would say that's a scam. That's a scam.
I just do think that
these are Juju Smith-Schuster's numbers.
There are few matchups, whether it's wide receiver, cornerbacks, running backs versus versus a defense, quarterbacks versus a defense, like the Lions, for example, like the Dolphins, for example. For the running backs, it's the Texans. It's pretty much the Texans, and that's it this year. Maybe the Bears and the Lions as well. But yeah, I mean, and the Browns have been bad against the run. But the Texans are it's all time bad against the run. Like if you look, you remember what Henry obviously 200 yards on the ground.
I mean, God damn, he had 2 games worth of carries.
No, let's take a quick look at who they've played every week. So Philadelphia last week, Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders, they're on a bye, right? So they're not on this slate. But Jalen Hurts,
I get it. They're getting crushed.
Every single. Josh Jacobs had a big game against them. ETN had a big game against them. Eckler had a big game against them. Frickin', I'm sure Chicago's running back like every single week. Jonathan Taylor's 130-point game of the season was against them. So
speaking of the guy you have up, how's the Giants' run defense? Because this dude, he gets work. And last week was the first week I could remember where he wasn't at least getting a couple. Look at the receptions before that: 3, 4, 3, 6.
I do think that the Giants' defense coordinator Wink Martindale's game plan will just be stop Dameon Pierce because I don't think he believes Davis Mills can come into the Meadowlands and beat them.
I mean, that's what the Eagles said last week.
It's for sure. The Giants' run defense is what it wants to be based on their game plan. So they've had a tendency to give up big chunk plays, and it happens all the time. So I think Pierce is a pretty good play here. But there is a chance that they do what the Seahawks did against Saquon in that game 2 weeks ago and just stack the box and not let him run. And they tried to force Daniel Jones to beat them, and they got enough pressure, and they weren't able to do it. So
will there be a slight discount on Josh Jacobs because he screwed everyone last week? No. Not discount. I mean ownership discount.
No, there will not be.
Okay, because this is a matchup for the loser. By the way, unfortunately, people are coming around to Carr. I almost wanted it to last longer.
You want to play a fun guessing game? So there's 5 running backs right now in ETR coming through with over 20% ownership, okay? Josh Jacobs is one of them at 24. Saquon Barkley is one of them at 21.
Can you X this out?
Yeah.
So I can see them?
I'm just going to ask you to guess 2. So Saquon Barkley is one of them at 21, and then Dameon Pierce is actually coming through with the most ownership, so 33% right now. 63.
Okay.
It's because of how tightly priced the slate is. Again, DraftKings have been incredibly tightly priced now 3 or 4 weeks in a row. So getting your low 6K running back is a big deal as opposed to getting up to 8K. But there are 2 other running backs projecting for over 20%. Besides Pierce, Jacobs, and Saquon, can you name them?
Well, I believe that ETN now is in the permanent everyone can't stop themselves because he's produced for them.
Sorry, there's 3 more. ETN is one of them. You're correct. ETN is one of them. So he's coming through with 20%. in KC, the matchup doesn't scare you. Plus, we just saw what Henry did on the ground against them. Plus, he can get it done through the air. I love him as a bring back in Mahomes stuff, but I'm not going to force him as a one-off given the ownership on the road.
Yeah.
And game script. Yeah. I'm going to be under the field in one-off plays, but I'll correlate him with Kelsey. I'll correlate him with Mahomes. That kind of thing.
Well, considering I'm trying to think of the last time Henry had a bad game, is he now back into that territory?
He sure is.
Okay.
So 24% coming through right now on Derrick Henry at home against the Denver Broncos. We saw ETN in London just do this to the Broncos on the ground. Henry's been matchup proof now for 5 straight weeks. I mean, he's back to being.
Remember when everyone said he was finished in the beginning of the year?
Yeah, I was.
I said once again.
I didn't say I was finished, but I was worried that he wasn't the same explosive player. You know about Derrick Henry. You've been saying this.
Yeah, dude.
You've been saying this for years. You have your Devonta Smith, AJ Brown thing you've been saying for years, and then you've had your Derrick Henry theory you've been saying for a decade, like literally maybe 2 decades, 3 decades. You've been saying Derrick Henry.
Since I was born,
Since you were born, you came out of the womb.
Since I was born, I said there's going to be this kid who's born after me, and he's going to struggle early in years. When teams are fresh and rested after the summer, they're going to be able to tackle him at the line of scrimmage. But then when they got that lingering shoulder injury they're playing through, this guy's going to tear them up weeks 4 to the end of the season.
Yep.
So we got 4 of those 5 running backs. So I'm assuming the next one is like a guy who's cheap, who everyone can't stay away from.
No, actually, he's on your.
Oh, so he's right on this list?
Yep.
Well, I mean, I don't. Oh, probably because of that huge week, Pollard?
No, it's not Pollard, but I think that it's if Zeke gets ruled out, Pollard will jump up here. But because Zeke's projecting for full work right now, Pollard's actually going to be a pretty contrarian play because they priced him up to 6,500 where Zeke's only 6K. So he'll be pretty contrarian right now.
All right. So then hit me.
It is Alvin Kamara. So I guess in Pittsburgh.
I don't like that. Not on the road. No way. With Watt coming back and them coming off a bye, rested, refreshed.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I really don't like that.
All right, there you go. Andy doesn't like that, folks. Some interesting contrarian names. I think Nick Chubb you could go to. If a lot of people are playing into this Miami game, you might be playing Brissett. We know Chubb is just his own thing. Like the 2 skeletons next to David S. Pumpkins, he's his own thing.
All right, well, I'm going to give you one. This is going to have to be a contrarian play, and it's going to be my Men's Warehouse pick of the week.
Let's go.
And you're not going to like the way it sounds, but you're going to love the way it looks. I guarantee it. And that is, you're going to have to scroll down. He's a guy we mentioned before. We saw one inefficient running back go off last week. And I'm not going to say he's going to get 5 touchdowns. It ain't going to. Listen, I love me some Jeff Wilson Jr.
I'm going to guess. Keep going.
I'll keep talking. And he's a guy who rivals the inefficiency of a certain running back that we just saw last week. Now, that running back went off last week, and I'm predicting that coming off a bye, this running back is going to be in a matchup that will allow him to continue to get carries because when they're getting blown out and they're chasing games, they're not allowed to stick to their ground game. But if there's one game they're going to be able to stick to their ground game, it's at home against Andy Dalton and those rusty Saints on a short week. I'm taking Najee Harris. Yes, Gary, he got it right. I understand how rusty he looks. He looks as rusty as Joe Mixon out there. I'm seeing the same guy plodding around. This is more so the situation of this game. Any game that the Steelers will be involved in, I don't think they want Pickett to just sling it around. And I'm out of my peripherals, I think I'm seeing Gary flick up, back up, running back. Those running backs are in there when they need strictly passing downs and passing work, and then they're going to give them. So at the end of the game, it's going to skew the stats. You're going to say, well, one guy got 11 carries and one guy got 10. Well, when one team's down 3 touchdowns and you're keeping the passing back on the field and you have a 3rd and long and you're giving them a draw, all of a sudden at the end of the game, that looks like they were splitting running back work, but they weren't. The game started to get out of hand, and then there were a couple draws in there, and you take the percentages. But I'm saying in a game that they'll probably be up or within 1 score, because, Dalton, I'm actually going to take Najee Harris as my Men's Warehouse sniff of the week.
Yeah, sniff of the week's the better way to put it. I think I like the spot as well. So I'll say this: I'm hearing some things through the birdies. What do they used to call those things in Game of Thrones? Varys's
my little birds, the kids who they would pay.
Yeah,
I'm hearing some
things, through through, some of the people here at ETR, we got some sources and everything like that. Apparently, he's going to Jaylen Warren as the workhorse this week. Apparently, he's finally doing it because he's so much better than Najee Harris, and he is so much better than Najee Harris. Obviously,
well, that's not good. I almost might have to delete that whole take.
We don't know for sure. No, but I think the point remains the same. The spot is good. I'm going to be playing a lot of Jaylen Warren based on that information. Luckily, we don't have that many people listen to this that this should ruin the play or anything like that. I will also be playing Najee Harris, though, because I agree. I think the spot is good. Najee's been bad. By all advanced metrics,
awful.
Rates is one of the worst running backs in the league. The guy can't get any.
Awful.
The offensive line stinks. I get all that. He can catch balls, but maybe he benefits a little bit by trading Claypool away, right? Like there's just really now only 2 receivers that the target share might increase. So I think it's fair, but I think the point remains the spot, the Steelers running back spot is a sneaky one to get to this week. It's a sniff for sure. So anyway, take that for what you will.
All right, so then why don't we use him, because I already declared he's my men's warehouse. So let's toss him in a lineup, shall we?
Yeah, for sure. And while we do that, I'll think of my men's warehouse because I don't have one yet.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, you do. You have it. You just haven't. It's already in your head, and now you just have to relocate.
It hasn't appeared to me yet.
It's like all your memories.
I have one.
They say you remember everything in life. They say there's nothing you forget. You just need a little cloud to remember. You know how that when somebody will refresh your mind on a story, then all of it clicks back.
Of course.
Your men's warehouse is deep in there.
That's what happened with Van Dam's story, yeah, for sure.
And that's what happened with Derrick Henry with me. It was always in there, and we just need to keep refreshing it every year. So
become a philosophy show soon.
I'll
give my men's warehouse, and then we'll make the.
Okay.
So
why don't you place him in the lineup?
Okay. I freaking love Amari Cooper, baby. Let's go. 8% right now is coming through.
So they can't shut down outside receivers even though they have good cornerbacks?
They haven't been able to do it all year. They're one of the worst pass defenses in the entire league, and both their cornerbacks have been underperforming the entire season. And no one's going to play him. He's mid-tier. If you're playing Tua, if you're playing into that game, it makes sense. But the work has been incredible, right? I mean, the targets 12, 12, 7, 11, 10. He has gotten into the end zone multiple times. They're coming off a bye, and it's just one of the few guys in those mid-6s that can give you 30 points on the right week. So I love Amari Cooper. No one's playing him. I think he's
all right. So I wanted to go to Mahomes. I understand he's heavily owned, but yeah. I'll do something that's your average person said, like you said, I like ETN to bring back. I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is hope that this is a true Kansas City game with a ton of scoring. Give me Schuster. Give me Evan Engram in the tight end. If you wouldn't mind giving his name a click.
He's hurt. He was limited at practice. I guess yesterday. So he'll probably
we actually don't. If he's not going to play, we actually don't need him because it was going to be a double bring back. Give me Kirk, who after getting a vote of confidence from the coach, I saw his targets are back up to where you would hope they were, and he's under 6,000. And I also want in the flex, and because if I'm taking chalk Mahomes and I'm taking chalk Schuster, he's had a bunch of good weeks in a row. Give me a non-chalk, more integrated into the offense with another week to get that hamstring better, Kadarius Toney. If I'm winning a tournament, that might be a key to it. If they get him the ball a couple times and let him do what he can do in open space, he could be a way to get extremely different. And then if you can just like toss in a defense, like the Packers. The Packers are a home defense, whatever. And I just want to see. So we'll leave it at that.
I would punt tight end. So what I would do is punt tight end.
Yeah, there you go. You fill in the
guys, something like that. Whatever this Lions dude that scored last week, and then you can pay up the running back. So that's the way to go.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Go cheap at tight end, so you could whatever running back that you like in the mix, and anything that you want. You want to go Jacobs, and then just
I like this.
Whatever.
It's contrarian enough, I know what I like about it. Like you don't have to put my women's warehouse pick of the week in there and Amari Cooper, but I do like the 3 6K receivers that can all give you over 20 points. Like I think that's a reasonable way to build this week instead of forcing. I mean, look, it's always going to be hard to get in these Tyreek Hill, Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, Devontae Adams guys, so they're always going to come in pretty low owned, except Tyreek Hill because he's a fucking freak of nature. But I think that is a reasonable way to build is go mid-tier at receiver this week. So
anyway, Cooper Kupp's going to be not looked at as much because that's a great matchup, right?
Cooper Kupp is coming through as our top owned receiver of the week.
Okay, it's just because, like you were saying, hard to find the money. So I was just curious.
This is still early ownership projection, so keep that in mind. But Kupp, Amon-Ra, Tyreek Hill, Christian Kirk, Juju, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Stephon Diggs.
We definitely need Tony in this lineup, and we definitely need Najee Harris in this lineup if Schuster and Kirk are going to be that highly owned.
Because Najee and Harris and Najee and Tony and if you kept Cooper in this lineup are contrarian enough, So,
Neil Patrick.
Yeah, Neil Patrick.
That's what we have in a running back and Harris.
Yeah, we do have Neil Patrick, Doogie Howser, Barney Stinson.
All right, we were able to scrounge a little something there for week 10.
Yeah. Sorry about everybody. I have to be a little bit shorter this week, but
don't apologize to these people.
These
people ain't gonna pay your bills. Actually, I guess technically some of them do.
Yeah, I guess. Well, whatever. We'll be back for week 11.
We'll be back for week 11, and you know how it goes. Like a week that we kind of do a shorter episode, don't fully break it down. Everything's going to go off. It's going to be our best predictions ever. It's always when it's casual. It's like, I think now Najee Harris is going to have a 7-touchdown game.
And then next week, to find folks in EDS. We can get to them this week.
Yeah, hey, look, around the holidays, it's hard to get it up. All right, everyone, take it easy. Good luck to all you guys. As I like to say, good luck to you, better luck to me. And we will be back with you next week for week 11. Take it easy, Gary. You could say anything you want to the world right now. What would you say if your face was up I put you up on Times Square like in the movie Hackers? What would you say to everyone?
Fuck Kyrie Irving.
Right in Times Square, so it's beautiful. That's a message straight from the heart of New York. Take it easy, everyone.